So I normally don't make videos about current topics like this, but this event really affected me. Political violence should never be tolerated, on any side. You can see many people glorifying this, celebrating this, or simply saying, oh, well, I disagree with him, or they go the other way and they call him a neo-Nazi fascist. I'm going to use his own words to show that this is complete nonsense. This was Charlie Kirk's message.
When people stop talking, really bad stuff starts. When marriages stop talking, divorce happens. When civilizations stop talking, civil war ensues. When you stop having a human connection with someone you disagree with, it becomes a lot easier to want to commit violence against that group. What we as a culture have to get back to is being able to have reasonable disagreement where violence is not an option.
In a recent event, a guy came up to the mic and wanted a fist fight with him. And he responded with this.
They can search me. I'll sign a waiver. I'll let you take the first punch.
Let's play this out. Despite the obvious fact, and you and I both know who would win this duel. However, hold on a second. This is a great embodiment of the American left. You can't debate, so you want to go to blows. You can't. The only thing that is preventing us from this country from going to civil war is debate and dialogue, and you don't even want to have debate. You want to go and you want to wrestle like a 7-year-old. Who here is actually dividing the country?
No. A gentleman's fist fight. You know what that is, right?
Again, I would like to think that we are elevated above trying to go have a fight in the streets or a fight in front of 2,000 people. In fact, a mark of civilization is that we don't have to go to blows or bullets, that we can have discourse and debate, but yet you're inviting that.
So you can disagree with his politics. You can disagree with his opinions. Maybe some of his opinions are bad to you. Does that mean he should die? Does that mean he should be killed? What is wrong with you? He was trying to get people to start talking to each other. He didn't want violence. He wanted peaceful, open debate. If you have a different opinion to him, that's fine. I didn't agree with him on lots of things. He was a Christian. I'm an agnostic. He talked about the Bible a lot. I don't really care for that kind of stuff. The whole point in his message was, let's talk to each other, let's not fight. Let's use peaceful debate, let's not use violence. Anyone who calls this person a neo-Nazi shows me that you haven't actually watched a single video of his. I'm going to show some clips of his debates and his words to show you who he really was. So here's a clip where a non-binary person comes to the stand.
Okay, just a reminder, if you guys disagree, you guys can work your way down. Yes, we have a disagreement and a poster and a visual here.
So Charlie Kirk would always invite anyone who disagreed to come to the front of the line. He did this because he wanted to have debate with the other side. If you disagree, he wanted to give you priority, because he wanted to facilitate dialogue between two sides who aren't talking to each other. The crowd started saying lots of things and became overly emotional. So Charlie said this.
My name is Davin Damien. I am non-binary. I am here with the Alliance.
Hold on one sec. Can I interrupt you?
Yeah.
Guys, hold on one sec. So we outnumber, what's your name again? I'm sorry.
Davin Damien.
Davin. We outnumber Davin. That's unusual on a college campus. However, let's do something that liberals never do to us. Let's give him, I think, courtesy. Courtesy that we don't give them. How about that? Okay. So is everyone cool with that? All right. So let's not heckle. Let's not interrupt. Let's be the ambassadors for freedom of speech. Cool. Okay. Please continue.
I must say thank you. Thank you for that, Charlie.
I can't think of anything more commendable than this. He realizes this person is outnumbered. It takes a lot of bravery to be surrounded by people you disagree with and come and talk and debate. Please be respectful, don't interrupt him, don't boo. But apparently though, he was divisive and spreading hate, while talking peacefully with people and not wanting to interrupt them. Now I'm going to show you a debate he had about white privilege. So here's the clip.
Hello, you are the first question. Nice to meet you.
Hello, Charlie. My name is Tracy. First of all, I want to thank you for an opportunity to speak on your platform. I want to let you know that I do not support you. I do not oppose you. I am neutral. Simply here just to ask a question.
Sure.
What is your take on white privilege?
Define the term.
So one of the most important things in philosophy is defining terms. So here, he has to define, what do you mean by this? Defining terms is very important. It's the law of identity. You have to understand what they mean by the words they're using, so you actually understand what they're saying and you don't misunderstand each other.
White privilege is a phenomenon where white people benefit from being white.
So the other person gives a slightly unspecific answer, so Charlie asks more questions to get to the root of what he's actually saying.
What can I as a white person do that you as a black person can't do?
I think the question is posed in a manner that does not highlight white privilege. White privilege is not.
That's why I asked. I want to go on your term, not my term. Right.
I'm trying to explain. So white privilege is in the opportunities. So you and I, not you and I as Charlie, because obviously you have more opportunity than me because you have a platform. But any other regular person, white privilege is not in the opportunities because we have the same opportunities. White privilege is in the outcomes of the opportunities. Me and my white counterpart may have the same opportunity to get the same job. However, whites are hired at triple the rate, and blacks for the same position with equal and qualifying credentials.
Is it easier for a white person or a black person to get into college?
Can I respond? That's very subjective and arbitrary. I would tell you, for me, going to college was difficult from just based on from what I came from in my background.
Right. So the standards for a black person are lower than for a white person.
Correct.
That's affirmative action. So wouldn't
Correct.
that be like black privilege, not white privilege?
No, affirmative action was created because
Not why it's created, but answer the question. Isn't it easier for a black individual to get in the University of Florida than a white individual?
We can't understand the context. How can I answer the question?
We could talk the context. Just answer the question. Is it easier for a black person or white person with test scores to get in the University of Florida?
From the clips I've seen, Charlie didn't interrupt much, but in this situation, he didn't answer the question, so he interrupted and asked further questions.
I'm not sure. Like I said, that's a subjective and arbitrary. What I wanted to say about affirmative action, it was created because, same thing with DEI, it was created because people of color who qualified to go in these universities were denied simply because of their skin tone, which is why they created affirmative action. It is disingenuous to not acknowledge.
That's why we created the Civil Rights Act, not the affirmative action. So those are three different things, right? Civil Rights Act, affirmative action, DEI. Three different things. Civil Rights Act, we agree, no one should be discriminated based on the color of their skin. Affirmative action is something different. Affirmative action is that we're going to lower the standards to get more of a skin color just because we think they're not represented enough. DEI is a further extension of that.
Understood.
So let me kind of ask the question again. So the baked into the idea of white privilege is that inherently in our culture as society, somebody that has white skin color in this audience has extra privileges that you as a black individual do not have. Can you list what those are?
Here we have some differentiation between the Civil Rights Act, DEI, and affirmative action. Here Charlie asks for examples. Often this is two of the most important things you can ask in a debate. What do you mean by this term? And can you give me an example?
Sure. When FDR employed the New Deal to counteract the Great Depression, this came with resources that was allowed it to white people. Banks denied 99% of qualified black applicants while also accepting 99% of white applicants.
But today in 2025.
So here Charlie specifies today because no one would really debate the fact that there was racism in the past unless they're in denial.
Okay, today in 2025, as I alluded to you, they've done studies in psychology where white-sounding names receive jobs or callbacks more than black-sounding names. They did the two names. It was a white young lady named Anna Scott, and it was a black young lady named Lakeisha Washington. They both put in 80 job applications. Lakeisha Washington received 9 callbacks and received 75 callbacks out of 80.
That's a good point.
Look, he acknowledges a good point, which you need to do in a good faith debate. If you don't acknowledge a good point, then you seem unreasonable.
I actually, that study is debated, but let's pretend it's true.
So there is some debate about the study he was citing. So Charlie plays devil's advocate and accepts it for the purpose of argument and then continues his Socratic questioning.
Do you think it's racism or something else?
I think that answer is multifaceted.
Because it didn't, let me make the best, sorry to interrupt you. If we live under a status of DEI, and people are getting jobs that they're not qualified for, wouldn't then an applicant then assume maybe that an applicant might be there based on DEI, not on merit? It actually creates more racism where it doesn't exist.
So DEI is not about going and grabbing some random person of color and saying you therefore qualified. DEI is about considering other qualified applicants.
Well, let's take airline pilots. United Airlines wants 40% all of their airline pilots to be women or people of color. Why does that matter? Number one, because I want a qualified airline pilot, not a person of color airline pilot.
Understood.
So you agree. But number two, there's only so many airline pilots jobs. So when you say we want 40%, by definition, then you have to discriminate against a certain group to get another group to advance.
So maybe you disagree with this, maybe you don't. But he's making a logical argument. We should prioritize merit and not skin color. We shouldn't discriminate.
Right?
Understood.
Because there's not unlimited amounts of spots for airline pilots or air traffic control or surgeons or whatever position. So when you say that we want to have a quota, that then you have to say we're not going to prioritize a certain group. Let me tell you what I believe, and maybe you might actually agree with it, because I think you do. What we believe as conservatives is that skin color really doesn't matter that much. We care about character and merit. We want a country built on what you bring to the table, not how you look.
But apparently, not judging people by skin color makes him a neo-Nazi fascist. I don't really understand the connection. So the other person agrees in principle, but has a counter-argument.
Exactly. And America started out with that based on merit, and theoretically, it was supposed to work. In practice, it did not, which is why you have these different programs of affirmative action, DEI, and the Civil Rights Act, because they were not working. You cannot ignore that these policies were created to counteract racism. A counteract to racism is not racism in itself.
Well, I reject the premise, and I will say this. If you do something racist on top of something racist, that doesn't make the second racist action good. Because if you discriminate against white people to say that we're fighting racism, then that's not a good idea. But instead, I think you can agree that when we build a society like college admissions or job applications, we should say no quotas and just merit. You agree?
I agree.
Then you're against DEI, because DEI says quotas.
Yeah, let me finish. I agree to a certain extent. So when you mention about discriminating against whites, of course, I don't agree with that.
Well, that is DEI, just so we're clear.
Right, and I'm going to say it again.
Cool,
DEI was created to offset racism. We left it up to majority of white America to include people of color or qualifying credentials. They would not. So my argument is that you're saying it's reverse racism. My argument is that it needed to be there to counteract racism. Sounds like we need to find a different solution for both parties.
And his counter is that there was racism in the past, and affirmative action is to level the playing field and to fix the past injustices. But then says maybe we should find a better solution. So I won't show the whole clip because it's quite long, but it's in the description. But here's the end.
I actually agree with many of your conservative takes.
Thank you.
I disagree with some as well. That's just because I think for myself.
We agree on a lot. We disagree on some. I can say this, that we both want a country based on merit, and I think we should keep that as our ultimate goal and purpose. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah.
So they agreed on some things, disagreed on other things, and then ended peacefully, by shaking hands. How is this divisive and spreading hate? He's talking to people. I made another video about having good faith debates. Certain principles you should follow to have better conversations and better debates. You can agree with him or disagree with him. I disagree with him on lots of things. That doesn't matter. He still tried his best to have good faith debates and was trying to stop civil war. Anyone who doesn't condemn this kind of violence, and even celebrates this, should be ashamed of themselves. This is against any Western value we've ever had. Free speech should always be paramount. We should embody what Voltaire said. I agree not with what you say, but I would defend to the death your right to say it. I just hope this doesn't lead to more violence, and I hope that Charlie's goal of bringing people together, even if we disagree, can happen. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. You will be missed.